Me and my other kid would go and trash other sets and run away. Like, it's 4 in New York, 2 out in LA, and I really didn't think I got it, to tell you that. They booked me a flight home.
So, how long you been messing around with her, Tyler? Sure, where'd she stay? I wanna hear you sing, lady. Lester's? Yeah, go over this later. You can grab a plate of chitin. The thing is, Ava straight up made me to baby, and she didn't check Micah for it. Come on, but here's where things get wild. What if that quiet, skinny dude who cracked you up on TV almost never got that changed everything? Imagine that. And get this, what if that sector's been secretly fighting a serious illness that nearly won his career the chance to up? That's right, Tyler James Williams. You know the name, you've seen the face, but the real story hiding behind those eyes, that's where born on October 9th, 1992 in Westchester, New York, Tyler James Williams was built for the spot before he could even spell his own name. While other 4-year-old was already memorizing lines like his parents saw something rare in him. Most people wouldn't even notice it that young. It wasn't just talent. It was like he had an old soul trapped in a tiny but twisted. Days on set weren't all smiles and story time. There's a heavy side to growing up around adults when you're barely a cookie off the snack. By the time he hit 5 or 6, Tyler was already walking through the full street. Sounds like a dream, right? Not exactly, because that big bird costume split open and a full-grown man stepped out. Something inside young Tyler's mind snapped awake. They really be stepping out a Big Bird, right? For real. There's an actual grown man inside that giant yellow costume, and seeing that blew little Tyler's mind. That moment was his first real taste of how Hollywood runs. Pure illusion and smoke screens. Nothing.
It was a whirlwind experience for me, you know, like because I did 12 to 16.
Well,
it was like high school for me.
But stay true to yourself. Like, you know, it's like what happened. Just stay true to what you do and who you are.
It's been great watching them learn because I was them at one point.
For what it seems, and that's a truth Tyler learned way too early. That thought club because it's gonna matter later. While most kids his age were stressing over spelling and who to sit with at lunch, Tyler was catching lessons inside Paramount Studios. Wrecked his career at just 12 years old. Tyler and his castmates were pretending to be troublemakers on screen. They were raising real chaos behind the scenes. Picture this, soda they're ready to explode, then across that like grenades. Sticky walls, ruined props, total mayhem. Production in the mess. Nobody knew who was behind it. Until now. Me and my other kid cast make off sets, then take off running. Tyler with a laugh. But that wild streak, it was about to lead him into a life-changing moment. Here's where everything flipped for him. Make or break him. It's 2004, and 12-year-old Tyler walks into an audition room with nothing but a dream. The show, Everybody Hates Chris. Loosely based on Chris Rock's real in Brooklyn during the 1980s, it was funny and painfully real. The young version of Chris Rock. A kid battling racism, money struggles, and the stress of being an all-white school. The pressure was huge, but this was the shot that could change everything. Tyler had to fight for it. 6 auditions total, 4 in New York, Los Angeles. He gave those readings everything he had, left his heart in every line, every look, and then they booked him a flight back home. What, auditions? 4 in New York, 2 out in LA. And honestly, I didn't think I got it, Tyler admitted, because they booked me a flight home. Plane ticket to New York, it usually means one thing, game over. In Hollywood, when they tell you to pack up, it's their way of saying thanks, but no thanks. Tyler sat on that plane next to his mom, probably shoving back to the overhead bin, trying not to show how crushed he felt. Every line he fumbled, tiny mistake, it was all replaying in his head. That flight should have been the end of the story, but fate had other plans. Then, ring, ring, his mom's phone went off. They wanted him, but there was one problem. This was 2004, right after 9/11, airport security wasn't around. You could plane, Tyler had to fly all the way back to New York, only to take back around and fly back to Los Angeles to the pilot. From 2005 to 2009, Everybody Hates Chris became a full cultural moment. The show hit deep, called race and family, mixing sharp humor with real emotion. Anymore. It's to every kid who they didn't fit in. While most teens were going to prom, hanging at football games, and living that regular high school life, Tyler was on set, 12 hours a day, grinding hard. That show became his high school experience. His classroom, his world was a whirlwind experience for me, Tyler said. You know, because I did it from the ages of 16, 12. It was basically like high school for me. Every moment on that set taught him something new. Lessons entire career, but one thing stuck anything else. It's from Chris Rock himself. Tyler stood clear as day. Like, you know, I was around 13 when it happened, he said. And they were like, just stay to what you do and who you are. Those words hit deep. Simple but powerful. The kind of advice that keeps you grounded when the spotlight gets too bright. Stay true to yourself. Simple words, but man, they hit different. 13, suddenly famous, and everybody around you's trying to shape who you are. People telling you what roles to for a kid. Advice became Tyler's compass, his guide when the world seemed too fast. Everybody hates Chris wrapped up in 2009. Tyler was just teen. That's the point where a lot of child stars fade out. The industry chews them up and spits them out without blinking. But Tyler, he was built different. He had discipline, focus, and a game plan. He kept pushing, taking guest spots, small gigs, anything that kept his name in the mix. In 2012, he scored a recurring role on the animated hit, The Boondocks. It wasn't a breakout role, but it kept him moving. These are survival jobs, the kind that pay the bills while you wait for that big shot. And then it happened. That same year, Tyler's world flipped down. He landed at the biggest shows on TV. Dead, season 5, baby. Noah, fighting to stay alive in a world crawling with zombies. The game had officially changed. But this wasn't just another acting gig. This was a real test. The kid can pull off a role where something about the teenage version of Chris and see him as the answer, yes. And that yes scared him because it meant he was into a level of his craft. On The Walking Dead, Tyler learned what it truly felt like to die on screen. His character met one of the most shocking and brutal ends in the show's history. Walkers in a set left viewers speechless. It was raw and downright haunting. That moment proved something huge. Tyler wasn't just a sitcom, he was a serious acting. But while his career was leveling up, something inside his body was falling apart. And nobody had a clue. In 2017, at just 24 years old, a phone call that his world died down. Not from a casting doctor. The words hit hard. It's disease. For years, bulk up to shed that skin that in his childhood. No matter how hard he worked, the weight just wouldn't stick. He'd force feed himself the gym nonstop and down those 1,600 calorie protein shakes. 30 minutes later, it was brutal, punishing his body into something it simply wasn't. Deep down, his body was screaming for him to stop. Then came all that pain. Crohn's disease, a chronic inflammatory attacks the digestion. No cure, no easy fix. It brings constant exhaustion and sudden that can send you straight to the hospital. Who always has to look camera ready, it was a total nightmare. Tyler had to rethink everything. How he trained, how he ate, how he listened to his body. No more pushing himself to the edge just to fit an image. No more punishing workout. Instead, he learned to slow down with his body. Not actually lasted. My diet has definitely changed over time, Tyler admitted. I was one of those people who as many calories as possible. I once drank a shake that had like 1,600 calories in it. Wild, right? After his diagnosis, he had to completely, instead of 3 massive meals that left him feeling sick, he switched to 6 smaller ones throughout the day. Smoothies and oatmeal instead of those heavy protein bombs. He saved his bigger meals for the evening, relax and crash without worrying about being ready the next day. Then came 2020. The world shut down and Tyler had to get creative. So he built his own home workout grind from scratch. Swings, push-ups, pull-ups, and brutal Bulgarian split squats that made him want every single time. I'm gonna show you my workout during the 20, he said. I used to go to gyms, and then we could no longer go to gyms. And just like that, he turned his living room into his new training ground. But here's what most people don't realize about Tyler's diagnosis. Break him, built him. Instead of slowing down, him sharper, stronger than ever. 2017 might have been the year he got hit with Crohn's disease. It was also the year he stepped right back into the spotlight. That same year, Tyler landed a major role in the Netflix series that takes on racism, privilege, and identity inside a fictional Ivy League college. Another acting job, it was a chance for her to show depth and power in a whole new way. It's 47, good job. ABC a B, she was tripping. But even in moments like that, Tyler brought a raw energy that every line hit harder. Tyler took on the role of Carson Rhodes, but this wasn't his first time stepping into that world. Back in the 2014 movie version of Dear White People, he had played Lionel Higgins, a black student figure out who he was while through didn't always deep, real, and full of vulnerability because it came from a place. That role showed Hollywood something huge. Tyler James Williams wasn't just it from that sitcom anymore. He had range, emotion, and the something. Then came another powerful move. Tyler set reminded everyone exactly why they fell in love with his talent in The United States versus Billie Holiday. Tyler C. Fletcher, a black FBI agent tasked with spying on and sabotaging a man caught between and conscience. The film starred Andra Day, who went on to win a Golden Globe for her stunning performance. But Tyler, he held his own. He brought layers to Jimmy, a character who could have easily been flat. showing the struggle of a black man working inside a system designed to tear down his own people. By this point, Tyler James Williams was proving to do it all. From Everybody Hates to The Walking Dear White People, The United States versus Billie Holiday, and now Abbott Elementary. He had built a resume that screamed growth, grit, and fearlessness. That role showed something powerful. Tyler wasn't afraid of morally gray characters, and he wasn't scared to make audiences uncomfortable. But the next role, the one that would shift everything and put him right back in the cultural spot, that was just around the corner. December 2021, Abbott Elementary premiered on ABC. You know what that reminds me? I actually wanted to buy some candy. I was planning on it before talking about this, so I'm happy it came up, because I'd like to do it right now. That light, offbeat energy fit perfectly with what came next. Abbott Elementary, by and starring, hit the screen and instantly became a fan favorite. The show followed at a Publix in Philadelphia, and it's accord with audiences everywhere. Tyler stepped into the role of Gregory, a substitute teacher who starts uptight and completely by the book. He starts to show warmth, charm, and real vulnerability, connected his quiet energy perfectly with the show's humor and heart. Okay, so the music teacher, Ms. Davis, couldn't make it, Gregory said, so I'm filling in. I thought that we could. The show was an instant hit. Critics couldn't stop praising it, and audiences ate it up like comfort food. Abbott Elementary gave Tyler a role that let him shine in every way. Funny, serious, and totally real all at once. He finally got the side of him on screen, and people loved it. We take a field trip. You know what I mean? Tyler laughed in an interview. We try to end those seasons on field trips, and we were actually able to go to Philly. That's right. The show didn't just stay soundstage, and for the season finale, they actually flew out to Philadelphia. Tyler and the cast got to walk the same streets their characters took. Real Philly residents in the city's authenticity made every scene hit harder. It wasn't just it was a show for the community. They showed love in a way Tyler had never experienced before. Educators weren't watching Abbott Elementary just for laughs. They were watching because it felt real. They told Tyler how the show helped them process the chaos and reminded them to find humor in the struggle. It wasn't just entertainment, it was validation. When the system felt too heavy, papered up and the stress got real, elementary and they all the same thing. Thank you. Some were just starting out, full of hope, and others were nearing retirement, down but for their students. Every single one of them felt seen. It's been watching them learn this and learn what this is, Tyler said proudly, because I was them at one point. For Tyler, working with kids on Abbott hit deep. It brought everything full circle. He used to be the kid on set, wide-eyed and soaking up every bit of advice. Now, he's the one in a new generation, answering the questions he once asked 20 years ago. And who knows, decades from now, one of those kids might be sitting on a late-night talk show, smiling as they tell stories about what it was like working with Tyler James Williams. And Tyler's still on the move. By 2024, he was shining in seasons 3 and 4 of Abbott Elementary, a show that just keeps dominating the ratings. Abbott Elementary isn't slowing down anytime soon. The show's already been renewed through season 5, locking Tyler in for the long run. But that's not all. He's lining up new film projects that haven't even been announced yet. Insiders say Tyler's gearing up to dip back into serious, dramatic roles, and fans are ready. The Walking Dead, he could handle grit. The United States versus Billie Holiday carry emotional and historical weight. Now, he's ready to both sides, the power, the pain, and the depth, into something unforgettable. And then there's Beyonce. Yes, Beyonce. When Tyler was just 14, he attended an award show, put her name on the nominees list. He made it right then and there. When she won, he wasn't gonna ask for a selfie or a handshake. Nope, he was going in for a hug. And sure enough, when her name got called, Tyler followed through, walked right up and hugged Beyonce herself. A bold move from a 14-year-old kid who was already the kind of that would one day define his career. The inside mind for sure said, "I'm gonna hug Beyonce," Tyler once laughed, and he meant it. That moment turned legendary. A 14-year-old Tyler with his face pressed against Beyonce's shoulder, iconic. Expression said it all. Pure joy, pure disbelief, the look of a kid who couldn't believe any of this was real. And when he was later asked what she smelled like, Tyler didn't hesitate. She smelled death. Honestly, what else would Beyonce smell like? Success, straight up. But beyond the viral moments, there's something that makes James Williams' journey so powerful. Through all the fame, all the noise, expectations, he's grounded. He's never tried to be anyone other than himself. That's rare in Hollywood. He listened to advice all those years ago. Stay true to who you are. And he's lived by that ever since. Stay true to yourself. Don't listen to anybody else say. Tyler lived by those words. Clearly, they worked. 2025, Tyler James Williams is estimated net worth of $5 million. Not bad for a kid who started acting at just 4 years old. Not bad for someone who fought through a chronic illness that nearly took the game. And definitely not bad for an actor who's never once sold out or bent himself to fit Hollywood's mold. His talent's been impossible to ignore. He's been nominated for 3 Primetime Emmy Awards for his work on Abbott Elementary, and even an AACP. Talk about recognition. So there is a little bit of like imposter syndrome that comes with it, or admittedly. Just kind of standing in the, but like the second time around, you can really address it there. About Tyler, humble, real, and always a picture. He's been recognized by the industry, and he's only 32 years old. But here's what almost nobody talks about. Tyler's still that same kid who used to up soda cans and tear through Paramount Studios, causing harmless chaos. He's still the kid who got off a flight, metaphorically and literally, just to chase his dream. He's still the one who learned way too early that nothing in Hollywood is ever as it seems. And maybe that's why he's made it, because he never forgot the truth behind the glamour. These days, prefers working with kids more than, not because it's easier, but because kids are real. They don't fake it, they don't play politics, and they haven't lost the of storytelling, excitement, and heart. The same energy Tyler's been carrying since day one. Maybe that's his secret. He never let go of that spark. Even when Hollywood tried to squeeze him into a box, even when he coasted off his childhood fame and called it quits. He didn't stop. He kept growing and kept believing in the magic that started it all. He kept evolving. He kept showing up. No matter what life threw at him, Tyler never stopped pushing forward. Oh, I know. You know what? It was Debbie Allen's house, he once recalled with a small, funny memory that just how far he's come. From Hollywood sets to legendary spaces filled with icons up on screen. Moving from his quintas through the just like Tyler did in real life. From child to teenage star to full-grown leading man. Undeniable. The journey is poetic. And while his work keeps outward, somewhere in Wisconsin, kids are watching Abbott Elementary to laugh, cry, and process of their classrooms. In Philadelphia, kids are seeing themselves represented on TV. Real faces, real stories that look like them. And in West New York, there's a 4-year-old right now memorizing their first lines, dreaming of being in Tyler James Williams' footsteps. But here's no one's asking. What's next? At Elementary for at least 2 more seasons, Crohn's disease demanding constant care, refusing for Hollywood fame. Go from here. He's conquered comms, survived, and taken on historical. He's been that works with him. So what's left for a man who's already defied every expectation? He's in teachers, actors, and every kid who's ever felt like they didn't fit in. And one day, when those kids from Abbott Elementary are all grown up, sitting on talk show couches, smiling and telling stories about working with James Williams, you can bet those stories will be full of laughter, lessons, and a little bit of that same magic he's always carried. And Tyler's already thinking about it. He sees in their eyes. He recognizes the curiosity in their questions, because he once was them. On the grown-ups, wondering how it all worked, wondering if he belonged. The cycle journey never really ends. Tyler grew up in a world built on illusion. Bird was just a man in a suit and torn down overnight and screwed you who to be and what to say. But somehow, in the middle of all that manufactured reality, Tyler found something real. He found himself through every chapter, Sesame Street to Everybody Hates Chris, from The Walking Dead to The United States versus Billie Holiday, from Diagnosis to Transformation, invited to grow with him. From a bright-eyed child actor to leading man, his story just evolving. Because the truth is, Tyler Williams' story, it's far from over. In fact, it's only getting started. He's 32, living with a chronic illness, yet running one of the hottest shows on TV that's teachers see themselves. And how the world sees them too. Every day, he's juggling scripts, cameras, and expectations while staying in an industry that people up. He's every child's they ever threw at him, rewriting his own story one bold move at a time. But what happens when the cameras go dark? When Abbott Elementary wraps for good, Tyler has to figure out what's next for his life and his heart. In 2000, on that flight home to New York, Tyler was convinced it was game over. He thought he'd messed up his one real shot at success. But sometimes getting sent home isn't the end. It's the universe testing if you got the fight to come back stronger. And Tyler, he wanted it bad. Bad that jumped on another plane, flew all the way back, and showed everyone exactly who he was. And since then, he's been shutting down every doubt, breaking every label, and proving people wrong, over and over again. If you felt inspired by Tyler's comeback, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment saying he's 30 to chronic illness and still winning.